Released on December 18, 2014 in Japan, January 26, 2016 in the US, and January 29, 2016 in Europe, and developed by Rakjin and Square Enix, while being published by the latter, we have Final Fantasy Explorers on the 3DS. While a lot of the Final Fantasy games have been more story-driven, in this game the story sits on the back burner, employing a quest system to progress the game, similar to the Monster Hunter franchise by Capcom. In this game, after you create your character, you play a freelancer who successfully manages to escape certain doom from the Eidolon Bahamut by a mysterious person. After making it back to the town of Libertus, the player decides to then become an explorer, and his or her journey begins. The game has a number of features and terms brought over from the Final Fantasy series, such as the job system and its abilities, and fighting monsters from the series, including the powerful Eidolons whose power you can harness via the trance system. Characters from other Final Fantasy games also make an appearance, and you can become those characters through the trance system and utilise their signature moves such as Cloud's Omni Slash and Squall's Lionheart. The game also has equipment crafting and upgrading using items foraged in the field or obtained from killing monsters, as aside from your starting gear you cannot purchase new weapons or armour. But, is the game any good? Find out in The Good. One of the features I was very fond of was having monsters fight alongside you. As you progress in the game, a monster may drop its Atmolith, which I guess is like its soul. You can then, for a small fee, exchange the Atmolith in order to have the respective monster fight alongside you. You can have up to 3 companion monsters, but you are given a point limit, so you can't have 3 powerful monsters accompanying you into battle. Stronger monsters take up more points and cost more gil to exchange. Any Atmoliths you don't need, you can sell or fuse with your monster companions to make them stronger, or as components to enhance your equipment. Note that not every monster is available as a companion, so don't get your hopes up if you want to run around killing things with your behemoth buddy. In the case of Eidolons, when encased, you can use their trademark attacks when your character enters trance mode and activates what's called a trance surge, or use them to enhance your gear. Another feature I liked was ability mutations. With each class you can learn skills unique to that class or to the weapons that that class yields, as well as magic. The interesting addition to this game is that as you defeat monsters, you build up resonance. Once you've built up enough, a crystal surge would occur, allowing you to add additional effects to your attacks, such as fire and ice, or draining HP, or casting stop on an enemy when you hit them. Now, when those effects are used in conjunction with certain skills in your repertoire, there is a chance that your skills can mutate to have some of those effects. So for example, I could have a fire spell that can also do blizzard damage, or a physical attack that does light element damage. Mutations can also be used with support spells as well, such as adding regen to cure spells, reducing cast times, or increasing the spell's area of effect. Once the game tells you the skill is the mutation, you can activate it at the central crystal in town and replace your old skill with your new and improved one. Mutation effects do stack, so damage based ones increase the amount of damage they do, while support ones increase the likelihood of that effect activating, whether the skill is used or not. This is indicated by the effect's level, and I think this adds, pun unintended, another level of strategy on how to grow out and customize your skills. The other major strength to this game is its multiplayer. While you can play through the game using your monster companions, I found the multiplayer element to be quite strong and really fun. Then again, if the game is like Monster Hunter, this is to be expected. You can team up with up to 3 other friends to tackle quests together, and on top of that, it becomes easy to get the mutations you want for your skills, or even experiment new combinations as effects activated by one player get shared with the others. However, multiplayer does have its limits, as players can only undertake quests that they have all completed. However, more experienced players can help carry people playing through the story quests in order to help them progress. But, while the game does have its good elements, it's not flawless. So let's discuss some of those flaws in The Bad. While the locations in the game may be unique, the paths connecting them are not. When moving between areas, you can follow a 2 to 3 area path to get to them, and while I don't have a problem with that, I do have a problem with the settings used in those areas. If I didn't have the map showing you where I was, you would think I was in the same place. It also doesn't help that the layouts of those areas are similar, if not the same in some places as well. While I do like the looks of the locations in game, I'm not so fond of the recycled environments on the paths connecting them. It just feels lazy to me. The game does suffer from slowdowns, which is to be expected, especially when there's a lot going on the screen or if multiple characters cast high level spells or abilities. I was playing and recording this off a new Nintendo 3DS XL, so even on slightly better hardware, it's still apparent. Controls is also another issue I had with the game, and while the new 3DS models have the second analog nub, it's almost recommended to play the game with the Circle Pad Pro if you don't have a new 3DS. I started the game with the default controls, and compared to the Circle Pad Pro or the new 3DS's analog nub, you'd wonder why you didn't switch to it sooner. Changing jobs is an absolute pain as well. When your character changes jobs, regardless of whether your new job can equip your armor or weapons, they all get removed. On top of that, all skills become unequipped regardless of whether you can use them or not. This can become quite time consuming and annoying, especially if you have quite a lot of skills or gear. If the game would at least optimize gear as well as compatible skills to suit the job, that would be a whole lot better than removing them altogether. In regards to the game, I also did find it a little on the easy side. Once you had an Eidolon's pattern worked out, dispatching them or encasing them can be done with little difficulty. Not to mention a whole bunch of quests revolve around fighting them again and again in different places with the odd new move. Encasing an Eidolon is also up to chance as well, since the encase command is only obtained as a result of a crystal surge, and can only be used when an Eidolon is on very low health, so you could accidentally end up defeating them before you get the chance to encase them. Thankfully you can replay the quests over and over, and it will always help to have a healing or support skill handy, as they can also enable crystal surges. Monsters on the other hand are predictable enough for you to easily dispatch, and if you have AI monster companions, you'll find yourself looking out for them more than yourself. With that, I think I've covered everything I want to go over in the bad, so now it's time for the opinion. I quite liked Final Fantasy Explorers. It's a little on the slow side to begin with, but I'm very fond of fighting alongside monsters I've captured, the skill system, and the multiplayer. Multiplayer is also quite solid, as I didn't notice any latency issues or disconnects during the time I spent playing it. The game isn't quite as deep as Monster Hunter, but I found it more accessible and easier to get into, and if you're prepared to put the effort into grinding quests to get materials to craft and upgrade gear, like any hunting game, the satisfaction will always be very rewarding. If hunting games and Final Fantasy happen to be your thing, definitely worth giving this game a go. And if you're entering the hunting game genre, this game would be a very good starting point. So with that, it's time for my rating. I would give Final Fantasy Explorers a crystal out of 10. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review.